Hi everyone, Wendy here from the Indigo Doors. I'm just wanting to share with you a painting that I did previously, actually recently, called Fortitude. And for those of you that are new to me, I actually I focus my whole life on connecting to other realities and dimensions through a lot of spiritual practices. And I paint, I'm a painter. So I bring in information from those dimensions, and I am sharing them with you. Some of the messages are there's a lot. It's like a language, and in this way, this creative process really allows me to communicate in an unbiased way, um, using creativity. And I've focused on it, and I've just honestly like enhanced it or fine-tuned it over the years, and it'll obviously keep changing in some ways. But when I paint, it's really about asking spirit, what is it that we want to know, or focusing in on this painting specifically. I wanted to connect with the Pleiades. Um, and with the Pleiades, there's a specific consciousness, and there's certain frequency with those entities. And I asked them what it is that we wanted to, what they wanted me to know, what they wanted me to share. And I created this painting, as you see here. There's a lot to it. And so when I'm painting, I literally am just shown one image and then I'm shown the next. I do not have any idea where I'm going until the very end. And while I'm painting, I am given information as to why, but it's almost like an out-of-body experience. In some ways, painting really fast, not really understanding the symbolism of things. And I don't want my brain to get involved. So I don't, I just paint. And then after I have all like the layout down, then I can go in and really paint a little bit more freely and kind of developing the form and representation of the item, obviously, or the object. And but while I'm painting, still I'm channeling. They'll tell me what colors to put where, because it's like a late language, and it really is about frequency and shifting and allowing the viewers to change as they're viewing the painting. There's a lot to it, but it's very exciting, and I love being able to share some of the messages with you. And obviously prints are available, so if a painting ever resonates with you and you want to share or be a part of that frequency, you can always purchase a print. It's pretty inexpensive, and kind of have it in your home, which is always really nice. So this painting from the Pleiades is the first. It's going to be the first of many, they're telling me, and even connecting right now. Obviously, I'm connecting, and they're talking to me about this painting with you. So thank you so much for listening. Please follow us and share our channel so we can continue to do what we're here to do. But this painting specifically was about what's happening on the planet right now, and also what's going to happen in the near future. So a lot of things are changing. The dinosaur here from the left, on the left, is about this archaic process of almost our flight, fight, or freeze response is shifting. Our DNA is shifting. And so in that, we're shifting out of this kind of victimization paradigm, this predator-prey reality. And it was so necessary. So in that way, it was so lovely, and it was so necessary. And they were showing me like this energetic system of, we needed the dinosaurs. We needed all of these things in place to create all of the cultures that were here on the planet in the way that we did. And there was a lot of help along the way, energetically and galactically. And but the dinosaurs representing a fundamental piece of this process, but an archaic way, meaning we can kind of look at the dinosaurs now, and if we don't understand, they were very important in the process, this energetic layer. If you saw objects instead of as a mass or matter, but actual frequency, because everything's obviously oscillating, if you saw it just cellularly, you would see it as just an energetic overlay of kind of like a foundation of to create this system of functioning that we have been experiencing for thousands and thousands of years. So there's no mistakes. Like, everything always has a place. even what we would deem as a mistake, or even species that are no longer here, not because of our annihilation, but just because naturally, like natural selection, but they did have a purpose during the time. So just this understanding of natural selection and understanding there's no mistakes, everything always is perfectly happening. There's nothing ever bad happening, though we might not understand it. It is part of this bigger picture. And you can see there's bats kind of throughout this process. If we start from this dinosaur and we move into this tree, and it is this magical tree, and it's going to kind of lit up. But trees represent knowledge, so in this way, it's this expression, it's pink. So it's going to be our heart's expression. So how we're choosing to express ourselves. This is what's kind of getting lit up. And you can see that everywhere in our culture right now. How are we choosing to express ourselves? Ways that we were before, we chose collectively to express ourselves. However that is, the stories that we are a part of, those are kind of getting shooken up. We see that in race, we see that in gender, we see that in sexuality, we see that in all of these things, and they're meant to be shooken up. They're meant to kind of get this lightning bolt of illumination, and it's illuminating, meaning, do we want to do this anymore? Do we want the separation? Do we believe in the separation? Yes or no? Or so it really is kind of churning up this emotional space, and how we collectively want to express. Connected to this tree is this head of this bird, and to me, it is it's the phoenix, it's part of this imaginary bird, but it's, to me, a bird represents our connection to spirit, to other realms, and it's being a fantasy bird, right? Phoenixes, did they exist? I don't know, but it's almost like tapping into this unknown space of like, what can we create if we can create anything? Well, I want to create a world where, everybody's loved and supported. And I don't mean that in a fairy tale, but in a way where we can really honor each other's differences and really respect them, right? And really see the beauty in everything and everybody. We see it in nature, like some really cool gnarly tree, or just the bud just sprouting. No matter where we are developmentally, just really honoring each other, right? And seeing everything through the eyes of compassion. That's what I would like to see if I could create anything, right? So we're really being asked, and that's where this phoenix is coming out of this book. What are we writing? What future are we writing? What stories are we writing? Now, if we are not looking at that, like, hey, what story am I telling? Or what story am I participating in? If we're not asking those questions, we're really just going to be unknowingly participating in stories that are subconsciously taught to us from our families or from our culture. And so in some ways, the stories are really being looked at. And a lot of people are saying, I don't want to be part of the story anymore. Rightly so. You don't have to, right? And bless all of the people that feel compelled to speak up. I honor you in all of the things that you're doing for yourself and for others. But it is about, what stories are you telling? And this is globally, but also just individually. What story are you telling for yourself? What are you allowing yourself to become? Are you putting yourself in a box? Because anything that is limiting is really just a belief system, and belief systems can be changed. They're based in thought. So what if anything and everything is possible, right? And we always hear these empowering stories of people starting their careers in their 70s or 80s or whatever, or hitting their goals. Age isn't a thing, gender isn't a thing. Like, we see all of these empowering stories of all these people hitting these goals because they allowed themselves to do it. It starts with an idea. What if it was possible? And that's really what this message is. What if it was possible, right? The bats that are kind of coming from this is this idea of being able to see in the dark, right? There is, in some ways, the time that we're living in is like a dark age, meaning we're beginning to wake up, and we're like, wow, where's the love, right? Where's the love? And in that way, just this emotional compassion, emotional maturity, we're like, Do we even know how to take care of ourselves? Do we even know how to take care of each other in a loving way? And through that perspective, it's kind of a dark age where we're really just kind of awakening, or we're just opening our eyes to this idea and concept that, hey, maybe we need a little bit more love in the world. Maybe we need a little bit more compassion. Look at all the pain, right? We need to reteach ourselves how to handle pain, how to handle death, how to handle these hard things. Let's heal. Let's heal our past, or let's heal our ancestors. Let's heal all of these experiences that we've had, right? And we do that by showing up and allowing for it. And instead of blaming, taking responsibility for our part in the story. That's what we do. More compassion, more love for ourselves. So these bats are really being able to see in the dark, meaning navigating the darkness, being able to, instead of using our eyes and what we see, what do bats use? They use their ears and what they hear, but their internal knowing. And this is available to all of us. It's like, what can you hear? If you really slow down and be present, what are you hearing? What is showing up for you? Because in that space of being present, right, and listening, and truly listening, right, there is this majestic, divine, sacred design. Our hearts are always going to show us what we need to feel and what we need to show up for in the present moment. That's why everyone's all about this power of the present. So it's like, what is showing up? What's coming to you? And really learning how to listen. Well, I feel afraid. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Right? So if a child was afraid, what would you do for a child? Right? You might hold them, you might allow them to just talk about it and why they're afraid. And in that way, that's what Spirit's really wanting us to do, is show up for these parts. And in that way, we're nurturing it, and you're changing the story, because you're no longer neglected, because you're nurturing yourself. So if you can really stay in the present and listen in these moments of darkness, and really listen to these parts of yourself, really get to know why they see it the way that they do, why they feel the way that they do, these parts of yourself. It's not all of you, because every single human being on this planet has a part of themselves that always remembers where they're from. They might not be conscious of it, but it's built in. We all are made of light. So in that way, it's like really learning how to navigate these stories. So that's why these bats are coming from this book, as you can see here, and then they're moving through this tree of really shifting and changing this tree of knowledge. We're starting to grow a different kind of tree here, metaphorically speaking. Underneath this is obviously this Statue of Liberty. So there's a lot of change happening in our country, lots of change. And it has to do with the violence, this domination energy of fighting, like the separateness of this division that occurs with even neighbors or cities or states or whatever, this idea that we're separate from each other. As you can see to the right of that is this like grave. This is dying. This domination, this sense of having to fight or kill one another over beliefs is something that's very archaic. It's very archaic. And that's why to the left of the Statue of Liberty here, it is this old temple, this idea of, or this city building, of how it started, how old this idea is. And where its foundation is. It's thousands and thousands of years old. And there were justifications for it. But in some ways, it's time for us as a culture, as human beings, to unite and recognize that hurting someone else is hurting ourselves. And somebody else's pain, somebody else's aggression or domination is really just pain. They're in pain and a lot of fear, thinking that they have to fight for who they are. And we're moving out of that. This whole painting is about moving out of that. And part of that solution, you can see these lines and this energy coming from this gun and such. It's like, it's in this emotional space. It's really about allowing ourselves to grieve, right? We're grieving. Change is not easy, right? And in that way, even personal change, we all know. Personal change, changing schools, changing jobs, that's scary. But now we're like collectively changing ideology. We're changing our foundation, and how scary that is. So just having compassion, and we are grieving. There are systems in place that are dying, meaning the systems of functioning, whether it's our medical system, we no longer trusted our new system, we no longer trust that, school systems, all of these things, we're starting to see this unraveling of these systems that no longer can function the way that they have. And there is a death in that. It is scary, but the beauty of it, look at, like, you can see this like blood coming from this grave, and it's going into this green, because this painting, you can kind of turn it up and flip it upside down. I'll see if I can. Yeah, there we go. You can see it's leading to this greenery, right? It's leading to this abundance. It's leading to new life. Because as something's dying, let's say the system no longer works, oh my God, look at all of the destruction. Look at how the system hasn't worked, and look at all of the violations of the system. And it has worked for so long, and it's been beautiful. It just no longer works for us now. And instead of like blaming and really wanting to take people down, right? Be violent, like it's somebody's fault. It's all of our faults. We've all participated in it, right? We do better when we know better, by Angela, right? So we now know better. So we're going to create now a system that incorporates more of who we are. What do we do in relationships when we outgrow them? We love them still, right? We just allow for something new to take place because we have expanded. We have grown. We now recognize we need something else. There's a beauty in that, right? There is a sadness too. So it's really allowing for both. Go back. So this whole thing, you can see here in the left in the storm cloud, is just about this kind of shift. That's all. Storms, what are storms scientifically? It's literally a shift from warmer temperatures to cooler temperatures, right? It's about creating balance. So in that way, that's what a storm is. It's about really just helping to create a balance. So know that nothing bad is happening, right? Nothing bad is happening. Everything is perfect, perfectly revealing itself and showing up for it, and allowing ourselves consciously to choose what stories are we participating in. And if we are recognizing that we're participating in a story that no longer aligns with us, then shifting it, healing it, allowing those parts of you to have that are having emotional experience to have them, right? And then deciding, hey, does this feel right though? No, I feel like I want to create a reality where we all really honor and love. Not only begins with ourselves, honoring and loving what's arising within us, so we can honor what's arising in others and supporting them, right? So this was overall the message from the Pleiades. And you can see the last thing here are these horseshoes. And it's literally, we have so much help. They're here. We have so much energetic support, spiritual support from God, from Gaia. And so just reaching out your hands, this is like the abundance, it's luck. It's knowing that, really everything is beautiful, beautifully unfolding, and trusting the process and staying in your lane, meaning staying in what is arising for you. And, you owning that really will help the rest of us. So much love to you as you continue your journey. And I can't wait to share with you what's next, what the next painting has to say. Please comment though, let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.